Hello there, wrestling fans! Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. I am Joe Panther, the third, and this is the night shift. Figured I have an awesome guest to close out the night. This lady is an awesome referee. She's doing her thing, counting to three, and making everybody look good. Of course, she's always looking good. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside, welcome to Anna Wood. Welcome, Anna. Welcome.
Hello there, Ringside crew.
Yes. So happy to have you on.
Happy to be
It's
here.
an honor to have you on. It's so cool to have another awesome referee, that this time from the other side of the globe. But,
all the way down the bottom.
Yes, all the way. Down
all
there.
The way. And you keep saying Australia, but it's not. It's New Zealand. We're even further down than Australia.
I'm so used to saying Australia because when I get wrestlers, usually it's Australia.
Yeah, I think we have the southernmost wrestling promotion in the entire world in New Zealand, which is SPW and in Invercargill.
I keep telling you, this guy always comes in with his national. I did not know. I never know.
National Sponge Cake Day. That is highly specific, Zach Minger.
He always comes in with the. Zach always comes in with the national stuff that I never know.
That's incredible. How do we keep track?
I don't know. He probably has that calendar that one of my former coworkers from Walmart, she would come to work every single day and had that calendar that told you every single day's national thing. Like National Dum Dum Day, National Coca-Cola Day, National Polar Bear Day. Dum Dum Day. I was like, oh my God.
Dum Dum Day.
Yeah, Dum Dum. I thought like human Dum Dum. I kept thinking like
dumb. But say as in a slightly impolite way of referring to
I'm very unprofessional in my brain when I worked at Walmart because people pissed me off every single day. So I was like, so she can have pictures of people, stupid people, sputtered around the store. And then she came in, here, Joe, want a Dum Dum? Take a Dum Dum. And I'm like, there's a lot of them in this store. And then I turned around and there's her with the bag of Dum Dums. And I'm just like, oh.
Is that a food?
Yeah, they don't have Dum Dums in New Zealand?
We don't have anything in New Zealand.
Oh, no.
We have sheep.
I can see how much it costs to send a bag of Dum Dums. Maybe I'll send you a bag of Dum Dums.
Probably a prohibitively expensive amount, but yes.
It's these little tiny lollipops. They're like about like this big. And yeah, I don't even know if I really hope to God they never get discontinued because, a lot of things in the United States are getting discontinued and stopped. But they come in different flavors like orange, blueberry, green apple, pina colada. They got mystery flavors in the bag. So you could be like sitting there watching TV, just eating a bag. I know girls that around Halloween would buy candy for the trick-or-treaters and literally go through half a bag just waiting for the trick-or-treaters. Ooh, I got green apple. Ooh, pina colada. Or the banks in the United States used to leave like a little thing of Dum-Dums, but COVID, they're like, hands, dirty, so they don't do it anymore. But
I'll have to send you some pineapple lumps. That's our national sweet.
That sounds good. I like that. I'm gonna one that I'll be. So Joe, how many days did I just ate it? It's a Sunday. Saturday night. I just didn't want to go to the bar, and I just ate a whole bag of candy. Adult life.
You're just eating your calories instead of drinking them, I suppose.
Yeah, my sister would be like, "Now you gotta go put a light on your head and run up and down your block 5 times." Well, it's not weird. Small town. It could have seen worse. So now we're talking about you all the way down in New Zealand. So how did you get into professional wrestling? Like how did it start for you?
Oh, this is kind of a long and slightly sordid story. So my background is in film and television. I've been a creature technician, art director, screenwriter, just a filmmaker for 20 years or so. And I found that when I wasn't working and I tried to watch TV or movies, I was still working, because you
Mm.
can't turn your brain off. So you wouldn't be watching it for entertainment. You'd just be watching it, sort of breaking the scene down. And so in order to find something to turn my brain off, I started watching wrestling and I started watching true crime.
Mm.
And then I got more and more invested in wrestling, and I was watching season 1 of Lucha Underground. There's in Ultimo Lucha 1, there's the match with Vampiro versus Pentagon Jr. And I remember watching that match, and in the middle of that match, I went from somebody who watches wrestling to somebody who watches wrestling and sort of got fully invested in it. So Pentagon Jr., well, he's Penta now in WWE, but Pentagon Jr. was my first, the first hit on my Mount Rushmore, really. And so I became more, just really more invested in it as an entertainment. But then my business partner, my co-creative, my co-writer, co-director, co-producer, co-everything, got caught committing internet crimes
Mm.
of a very, very disgusting, horrible nature, and is up for parole soon, I believe. But I had to basically blow up my entire business, pull the plug on all our projects. We had films ready to go, we had scripts in development, and I had to shut everything down and just walk away, because while the court case was going through, I couldn't talk about it. There was a name suppression order in place, and I didn't feel like it was appropriate to ask people to work with me with this hanging over my head, because once it came out, I knew it was going to be my name, for was going to be tied to him because we'd collaborated for so long. So I had to do something else with my life. I basically, I could lie down and die, or I could just get up and keep going out of spite. And I had a mutual who was involved in local wrestling in Auckland, and I sort of asked him, "Hey, I need to do something. Do they need help? I have this background in film, and I know wrestling. I can put chairs out at shows, maybe." And so I signed up. And originally the idea was that I was probably going to be a manager, because I have performance background, and I have a spinal fusion, so we knew I wasn't going to be able to wrestle. That just was never on the table for me.
Oh.
But when I turned up for a promo day, handing out, just doing the flyer drop, someone said there's a referee shortage. And I thought, well, I don't know if I'll be any good at that. I'm not sure if that sounds like me, but why not? Let's have a go. And so I did. I had a go at it, and I was right. I was terrible at it. But I decided, instead of, like, usually if I'm terrible at something, I'll just put it down and never try it again. But this time I was so angry at my former co-creative that I let that spite power me to keep going and to keep turning up and to keep training and to make myself do it until I got better. Because I'm the classic gifted child to adult burnout pipeline. You never, when things come easily to you when you're young, you never learn that. You never sort of develop that mental fortitude to allow yourself to be bad at something and forgive yourself. And so that's what wrestling has actually taught me over the last few years, is that I can try something, fail at it, try it again, and fail a little bit less. And then after a while, once the performance aspect came in, it just clicked.
Mm.
The craft, the actual technical elements of refereeing that's always the learning curve. I have there's a senior referee in Australia I talk to sometimes, and he sort of sometimes will give me a poser like, okay, it's a triple threat elimination match. Wrestler A is the champion, but he gets eliminated. So then wrestler B takes out wrestler C with a chair. Who wins? And you're still learning and processing this information as you go, because there's no single set rule book. And it's sort of an endless, you don't know what you don't know until you're in the ring, and then suddenly a scenario happens and you have to very quickly make a call. And so you're running through your mental list of everything you've seen on television, and you're sort of like, oh no, I remember seeing that on TNA 10 years ago. I know how this goes. Or I have no frame of reference for this. I'm just going to have to make a decision and stick to it.
Awesome. So when did you get into the deathmatch scene, or was there a match you watched before? Did you
Well,
know what it was, but
the,
you were
the
getting yourself
that
into
that
it?
match with Pentagon Junior versus Vampiro is actually a death match.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so Ultimo Lucha Underground season one, and that was the spoilers for a 10 years ago show. That was the match where Vampiro revealed himself as Pentagon Junior's master, who
Mm.
he'd been breaking arms and dedicating them to his master the whole way through the season. He'd been on a tear, and then Vampiro wanted to fight him because he'd tried to attack the ring announcer. And then at the end of the match, when Vampiro's in a pile of light dust tube and blood and um, just debris, he gets on the microphone and says, Vampiro says, Pentagon, your master is here. And it was just, so it was a situation where the wrestlers, Vampiro obviously at that time wasn't very physically robust. He was coming back off some surgeries, I think, but he wasn't in great ring shape. And that's what Penta is so good at, is he can get a good match out of these broken down luchadors who are at the last stages of their career, and he's taken masks from wrestlers and gotten matches out of them that I don't know anybody else could. But it was a death match, and that's because even though death match wrestlers have to be good wrestlers, a death match can cover over a multitude of sins because you're not doing ranas, you're not necessarily doing top rope moves, you're not doing chain wrestling. You are. It's about the spectacle and it's about the violence, and it's a much more measured pace. And it was the first time I'd seen something like that, and I was just hooked. That's the match that hooked me into wrestling.
Mm.
But we have a promotion in New Zealand called Reaper Pro that runs sometimes. I
Oh,
think
jeez.
maybe every 2 years it runs a show.
It's like a
Uh,
random. There's a promotion out here that's just like that. I can't think of the name of them right now. I would hate the name drop, but they do their show. It's almost like how I say, whenever you feel like it. Like,
mm.
go to a show like that.
Well, because to do a deathmatch tournament in New Zealand, we have to have Australian talent come down because we don't have a full card of deathmatch wrestlers in the country necessarily. So this was quite early on in my time in wrestling, and so I'd been asked by one of the wrestlers to referee one of his matches, which I was very excited about. But then the promoter sort of said, I'm not sure. And so I jumped on ring crew. And so during a death match, your ring crew is very much key personnel because you're positioned right at ringside and you're clearing debris the whole way through. Every time something gets broken, busted, shattered, you're scooping it out and you're shoving it under the ring to keeping people safe in a death match sounds like an oxymoron, but I always say we want them to hurt each other deliberately, not accidentally.
Yeah.
But I watched that whole show, and some of the wrestlers asked me, "Why didn't you referee it?" And I said, "Well, Prada wasn't sure if I was ready or not." And they said, "Oh, fuck that! Come to Australia, you can do our show." So
Yeah.
I said, "You know what? Actually, I will." So I called their bluff, and I booked tickets, and they went over, and I did a deathmatch tournament for DMDU, which is Deathmatch Down Under. They had
I
a tag
know them.
team. Yeah, they had a tag team deathmatch tournament called Dream Death Rules Everything Around Me. So I came down and I did that, and I think there were matches 35 to 42 of my. So I was still pretty green, but that was an amazing experience, and I found that doing the deathmatch shows actually helped me improve a lot of my straight pro wrestling abilities as well. So things you don't even think about, like your cadence, like the speed of your count and your pacing and things like. I'd had some challenges with that because you sort of tend to hit walls
Mm.
and find yourself like not quite getting something quite right, and you'll get into a cycle because you get in your head about it and you know that you've got to fix it. And I found that doing something completely different, doing this deathmatch show, I came back and I'd cleared up a lot of those other things. So I started doing deathmatch pretty early in my journey, and I still do it whenever I can.
Mm.
I was in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago doing a deathmatch show for promoter Jem Stone, who was one of my favorite humans in the business. She put on her own. her own deathmatch show instead of helping everybody else with their stuff for a change. And I was
Okay.
like, coming over. So I flew myself over because I wanted to do the show for her.
I love winning people over. Like, is ultimately why I do this podcast. Like, we did this podcast to highlight like what happened during a WWE show, and then I kind of told my former co-host, "Can we change it, please, and try to interview people because I'm getting so bored of talking about WWE." My grandfather, his ghost went, "Ow, Grandpa, ow, that hurt." It was a heavy. He was bigger than me, so he was a heavy spirit hand. It felt like just, whoa. In Spanish, I heard pendejo. Ow. I heard pendejo in Spanish. Bah, ow. But if it's for the greater good,
Mm.
good job.
Yeah, I always try to make my content focused more on indie wrestling and weird wrestling history and things like that. There's so much content about WWE,
Too
and
much.
which is awesome, and I'm glad that it's supporting its own cottage industry. You know, there's the industry, and then there's the industry around the industry. But I think I have conversations with people sometimes in New Zealand, and they say, I didn't know we had wrestling. And I'm like, yeah, we do. And here's the page and here's the details, and I'll see you there and you buy a shirt. But a lot of people don't actually realize that it's something that happens at other levels. They just think it's this one show.
Mm.
Or maybe if they know a little more, they think it's these 4 shows. Maybe they've heard of GCW, you know, but then when you start learning more, people start getting invested in their local promotions. That's,
Yeah.
I think, for some people, that's where they find a real joy.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, we
and
have
also with
fans who are in the front row for every show, and they buy tickets for every show. Our front row sells out before everything else
I love that.
because they want to have their seats, and they have. So some of them pretty much I know exactly where they're going to be. I don't even know where I don't even need to know where to look, because I'm like, that's the guy that brings snacks for everybody. That's his friend with the blue hair. There's Auntie. She's going to start a chant. And so they're kind of family as
like
well.
like the ECW people back in the day, they knew the sign guy, they knew the guy for the top hat, the guy that used to wear the old farm hat. There was the sign guy. There's the this guy that comes in a suit jacket. Like, everybody knows each other, but everybody. It's. But I try to explain to people, independent wrestling's like a huge family. Like, who's showing up every show. Like, by me, in Slatington, we have almost the same type of people. We have the sign girl. That's what they call her, the sign girl. She comes every show with signs of for the wrestlers, and she has catchy, witty signs like about the wrestlers. Like, I wouldn't let blah 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 watch my kids. Just kidding. I maybe if I had a child, I would have to think about it. Like stuff like that. You're like, oh my god, girl, stop that. Um,
I
now,
even got a crowd sign one time. I was very excited about that.
oh wow,
It just said hot ref.
you were like, did you autograph that sign? I would have.
I was so in the zone. It didn't occur to me to look for signs. I didn't see it until afterwards, and I was like, next time let me know in advance so I can acknowledge it.
Everybody's going, look, look. You're like, no, refereeing.
And like, no,
Match. Me,
get in
me
your
at work.
corner.
Me at work. Yay, for work. Like,
I find
when it comes to like the
unless
big
I
pit,
need to listen to the crowd, like unless I need to pay attention, I find that it's like a cone of silence once I'm in there. It's like the rings might as well be walls.
yeah.
So the ropes might as well just go all the way to the ceiling.
Woof, you didn't see nothing. Now, with your matches, what has been the most insane like spot you've ever encountered?
Well, see, people sort of see very dramatic things like someone doing a triple backflip into a barbed wire trampoline or fire spots, and they think of those as being the most dangerous. But a lot of the times people get injured doing very, very, very mundane things.
Mm,
Uh, and it will be a microscopic mistiming. I've got a black eye from a planned spot that was just like 3 millimeters off.
mm,
So I never sort of look at the big dramatic things and go, oh my God, I'm always looking at the things you wouldn't think about. Like there was a match I was ringside for, and it involved a lemon. And
here we go.
Once the lemon had been squozen into the open wounds of the wrestler and he'd screamed, it was sort of put aside. And I spent the rest of the match just fixated on that lemon, and I was trying to reach it because all I could see in my brain was we've got these massive, big, tough Australian guys who've come down to New Zealand to do this deathmatch show. If one of them slips on a lemon and dies, he'll never live it down in the wrestling afterlife. So, you got to keep an eye on them.
Make sure
you got to think about that sort of stuff. The really, really stupid, random, weird things that would never occur to you are actually often the most dangerous.
You were doing the cat. You were like, no, must get the lemon. Every part of the match is missed. All you hear is, oh, ah.
Yeah, no idea what's going on. Don't even know who won. I was just locked in on the lemon. We did a match in Melbourne recently, which was a what do they call them? They called them Venus dye traps.
Oh my gosh!
So they'd rigged up these pallets with barbed wire, and some of them had light tubes, so that when you fell in them, they slammed.
Oh,
and the first two were just barbed wire, and then the guy brings out the third one, and it had the light tubes on it, and I was like, oh, okay. But then we had to get it in the ring. So there's like me and there's another ref on the outside and a couple of ring crew sort of very gingerly just like lifting this thing in over the ropes and just like putting it down like gently, because
one false move and you're in the middle of that. Boom.
Exactly. Or you break it and you've ruined the spot, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I would rather fall into a nest of barbed wire and light tubes than ruin the spot in the semi-main event.
Then you have that guy that built it. He's like, God damn it, man, I just put that together 2 hours.
Exactly. And that guy who built it was right in the ring with me, so I think he would have had something to say. No, he wouldn't. He's actually lovely, but don't.
Yeah. I made it sound like he came from Kentucky. That guy that made it. Oh, what the hell, man? Like, why'd you just come from Kentucky? Yeah, I drove my pickup truck under the water. Yeah, I don't know why.
Thing I've come to learn about Australians in particular is that the scarier they look, the sweeter they usually are.
Yeah, that's the ones like PA. Like, they look scary, but they could buy you a beer or two. Or follow you home and make sure you're safe.
Yes.
You got home safe? See you later.
I think I slept at the airport after that show, but eventually I got home safe.
Yeah, I remember half of that. When it comes to, because you say did you say you were also on the medic crew for those shows also?
Yes, I'm first aid certified to level 2, and I take it very seriously. Like, I'm always working on trying to improve my skill level in first aid. I'm actually looking at doing a diploma, a first responders diploma, because I have an ambition to be the most medically qualified referee working. That's like a goal I've set for myself. So I've taught myself some basic suturing as well. I have like a stitch kit, which I can't bring in my carry-on luggage, unfortunately, because it's got a lot of blades in it. But when I splash out for checked luggage, then I'll take the stitch kit.
Yeah. My sister somewhere, she was watching this episode. She's like, "You get that, girly?" Because my sister's a nurse, so like, she would tell you to get your certification, do it, get it, because you need it, because you could be. If you come to the United States, sending them good vibes, knocking on wood for you, spirits help her.
Her stripes will travel.
Yes, please, definitely try to book her. She's an amazing person, and definitely get the certification, because if you come here, GCW may see you and be like, "Do you got your certification? You're a referee?
Yeah.
Are you able to come to this, and this?"
Because the qualification I'm looking at right now is valid in New Zealand and Australia, so I imagine it's probably transferable with a little bit of mucking around. But I think my position is that I feel like referees have to be the adult in the room.
Yeah,
You know, we can have fun. I mean, sometimes I do it in tiny shorts, but you still have to be the adult at the end of the day, and sometimes that means being the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because you need to feel confident enough in your skill and your knowledge that you can call it off,
Yeah.
because they're not going to. Trying to get a wrestler to stop wrestling for their own well-being, no, and they won't tell you, because they don't want to ruin the show. Like, nobody wants to ruin the show. Like,
No.
everybody wants the show to be as good as possible. So if you actually have to call it off, you need to feel confident that you know that you're making a good decision. And so that's why I think every referee should be first aid trained, at least to a level 1, because not necessarily for the hands-on skills, but just for the triaging. Because
Mm.
what a crash course in first aid basically gives you is the ability to go, okay, right, that's urgent, that's not.
Mm.
Those people need to be corralled out of here.
Yeah.
And it's things like, for instance, if somebody had you know, touch wood, never come across this, but if somebody had a heart attack in the ring,
Mm.
a lot of our rings have a big spring in the middle of them. And all rings are springy, so you can't do CPR in the middle of the ring.
No, because it'd be like doink, doink. Yeah.
Well, no, because the spring will just displace all that kinetic force, and you won't actually be able to do anything for them.
Oh.
So if that happens, the first thing you need to do is get them to the apron, get them as close to the edge of the ring as possible.
Mm.
And then you need to get the ropes taken down so people can help you get them out. But it's thinking about these things in advance. And I do this to myself at 3 o'clock in the morning. I did actually get up out of bed because I couldn't sleep, and Googled spring displacement CPR. And I found a study about people doing CPR on mattresses. And that was the
Oh.
closest I could find to answer my question.
Oh my gosh. I
So,
it just said that because I think I told you yesterday when we were talking. I think it was on Instaphone or on here. After I booked you, the the videos I was getting from wrestlers and also the aftermath with the blood by the garbage bags, and it says the one guy. I was like, God damn it! Excuse my friend. We got my number one fan in the chat, Vinny. Welcome, welcome, Vinny
hi,
DeVita's
Vinny.
here. Vinny, number one fan since day one. Well, some of them were bleeding and they're like bandaging them up, but then the other ones were the guy had the garbage bag and it was like
Mm.
I was like, oh, fuck, shock, I could watch deathmatch, but I can't watch squirting. I can't watch squirting blood.
One of the things that we sometimes have with us when we're doing deathmatch,
Ooh, that's
super
the.
glue.
Okay, oof.
Somebody's bleeding and they're not going to get out of the ring and let you fix them.
Mm,
Glue.
yes.
You can actually lose comfortably up to 500 mils of blood, and if you lose a liter, then it's getting a little dicey.
Mm,
I'm not sure what that would be in pints or whatever you use, but you can lose more blood than you think. Basically, a tomato sauce bottle's worth of blood
mm.
can be lost without too much trouble. So people can bleed a lot more than they think. So the first time you see a puddle of blood, you think, oh no, something's gone wrong. But
Yeah.
no, it's gone right.
I've seen too many. My dad has sent me way too many spots from like random. I don't know if it's backyard wrestling or just an outdoor with the trampoline made of barbed wire.
Mm,
You gotta have some talent to make a barbed wire trampoline and like not like mess it up when you're putting the twisties on it like that
very
thing
much. And
like
in deathmatch, weapons masters are an entire subcategory of workers. You'll have people who um, basically, some people are just weapons builders. They just come to the shows and they'll go outside and they'll get all the light tubes, because you can't just sort of build a bunch of light tube bundles somewhere else and transport them, because they're so fragile. So you basically will have workers at the shows just taping them all together and getting them organized.
yeah.
And yeah, it is absolutely an art form. Neil Diamond Cutter is one of the weapons
Neil
masters.
Diamond Cutter. Okay.
Neil Diamond Cutter.
Does he
He's
sing the
on
song, Neil Diamond song
He
when he
comes out
puts?
to he comes out to Sweet Caroline. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Wait.
he's on his retirement tour right now, but I don't believe it. I don't believe in wrestlers when they say they're retiring.
They'll go to Vegas. They'll go to Vegas and build things. They can't retire. No. 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 When it comes to eating, because you deal with deathmatch and blood and scary stuff all the whole show, do you eat the day of a show or do you wait till afterwards and go to that local diner or like somewhere?
This this is very dependent. If I'm working on a show, if there's food, I'll eat it. If there's not, I don't have time to go and get it.
Mm,
And I have done shows on an empty stomach, and have done shows. I have had one show where I could feel my blood sugar was crashing, and I had to go and find something to eat urgently. But it depends on where we are. Like if the venue is in the middle of shops, then cool, you can go and get food. Sometimes it's not though. Sometimes it's a brewery show, and they can be out in the middle of nowhere. And so if you didn't bring food, then you're out of luck.
oof.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
but I think what you're asking is, do I get nauseous with all
Yeah.
the no. Um, Little known fact about me is I actually used to be a real undertaker.
Okay.
When I was younger, I worked in a funeral home. So I've seen the full.
I'm gonna go Ghostbuster Joe for you right now. I've seen shit that'll turn you white. Ghostbusters reference.
I had back when I was a baby undertaker. I went to the hospital morgue to do a delivery, and because sorry, a removal, and they knew I was new, and so when I came in, they said, "Oh yeah, he's over there," and they pointed me to a table. Somebody was just like fully open. They're in
Mm.
the middle of it. This is obviously something they do to haze people, and I ruined it for them because I just went, "Can I come back when you're ready?" And they were just like, "Oh, okay, fine. Your one's over there. Off you go."
Oh my god. Yeah. They
But
think they got you, but
I
they
used to do prosthetics as well, like special effects makeup. So I used to research, and when I started doing it, because I'm older than I look, we didn't really have a lot of resources. So you'd have to actually go and look at medical books, and you weren't just looking at other people's work necessarily. You couldn't sort of get high quality images, so you just have to look at actual genuine injuries and autopsies. And this is back in the days of rotten.com, if you know that website.
oh, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
rotten.com. Yeah.
rotten.com is basically how I learned to do prosthetic special effects makeup.
You remember the book that had the prosthetists, the Hollywood that would show you like how they did the zombies' heads in Night of the Living Dead and how they did the the heads exploding and how they did. There was like a book that would show you all this stuff. But then the last page, you could order like zombie faces, the vampire blood. You could order that stuff on the last page. Did they have that one in New Zealand?
Not that, no, no, we didn't. Anything like that, we'd have to get special ordered in. Like even something like Fangoria magazine would have to be like a. I don't think we had any news outlets, magazine shops sort of selling it. You'd have to sort of order it in.
Oh man,
But when I was doing my prosthetic training, we had a few.
you would have loved watching Fanguli. He would have loved watching him. He watched all the old horror movies on his show. Wait, do you guys get Me TV over there in New Zealand?
No, we don't have the same. We don't have the same broadcasters.
Oh my gosh, you have to look it up. Van Gooley, he watches all the old horror movies and he'll tell you what he thinks. He reviews old black and white horror movies. He did Night of the Living Dead the week after the director passed away. So he did like the breakdown of what he thought of the original black and white movie, and he gave you little things about how the movie happened. And did you know that the blood in that movie wasn't like the blood like you get from the little thing? It was, get this, Bosco syrup. Like what? Like yeah, because it was black and white and it
Mm.
just looked red. Because when you hit a black and white camera, you can't tell if it's red or black. So it comes out
Well,
black. Yeah.
well, famously, the blood in Psycho in the shower scene is chocolate syrup.
Yep. They used chocolate syrup. So it didn't look like. My dad's like, that doesn't make sense. My mom's like, it is. So it looked like blood, but it was black and white. I'm like, yep. My dad's like, still didn't get it. He was like, what? Didn't get it.
Color theory. Yeah, I did a film called, what was it called? Perfect Creature, I think it was. Yes. And I ended up with a 100-liter garbage bin
Mm.
full of blood that I basically made from scratch.
Oh,
So it's like
geez.
glucose syrup and food coloring, and I was adding in some arrowroot flour to make it a little bit more opaque because actual human blood isn't like stage blood's always transparent, and you can it's not right because as soon as human blood touches the air, it oxygenates.
Mm.
So yeah, when you're making up fake blood, you want to have something that has that slight. It almost sometimes looks more like paint,
Yeah.
especially when it hits the canvas and it starts to. If it's a big enough drop, then you just get this like very very vivid red.
Yeah, I was wondering about that when I was watching a movie. Why does the blood look so like red? Like it's
It's
not like
very red.
because
Fresh blood when it hits the air is a lot redder than you'd expect.
you watch some horror movies and it's like almost like a maroon color. But then in other movies, like you watch some of the Jason movies from like the late 2000s, it was like the ones that was the people trying to get away from Jason as they were stabbed. You saw like red, like almost like the Ghostbusters color red on the logo, like the YouTube logo, like on the thing, like
Mm.
that kind of red, like smeared red. But if you're watching another movies or those other movies, the blood is like the more serious movies. The blood's like darker. I always wonder why they did that. I guess to get effect of like blood, or they want to have a
Yes.
different version of it.
Well, there's also this thing that reality is unrealistic sometimes. People have a shared mental picture of how something should look, and that can feel more real to them than what something actually looks like.
Mm,
So you're always trying to split the difference when you're doing something like an effects makeup. You want something that looks, you want something that people register as correct, even if it is slightly, you have to decide what compromises you're going to make. But
yeah,
also, very, very vivid, bright red. If you think about sort of the blood from B movies of the 70s, 80s era was too much in the other direction, and it was almost like orangey, red. And so that doesn't register as accurate either. I've
yeah,
seen a lot of blood.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You have. Is there any like particular deathmatch wrestlers that you really want to like work their matches, but you have not had a chance to have them over to New Zealand yet to wrestle in your promotion or any of the ones near you?
We haven't, yeah, we very seldom get in New Zealand at all. There's actually the ones whose matches I'd really like to do aren't necessarily ones that I've never worked with. They're people or never worked around. They're people whose specific matches I hadn't done. Like for one of my bucket list items was Mickey Knuckles, and I got to do Mickey Knuckles.
Love her.
Yeah, huge Mickey Knuckles mark. And I met him, Dmitry Alexandrov, Deathmatch Jesus. I worked on shows with him, but I didn't get to referee him. And I'm just like kicking myself because he's like one of my favorite guys out there. I love Dale Patrick's. I have refereed for him a couple of times, but in a tournament, it's always a little bit of a scramble. It's just in and out and being shuffled around. And there's, yeah, I'm always reluctant to say this person and not this person because until you work with them and interact with them, you know your favorites can surprise you.
Yeah, it could be you could be very very cool with them, or you could be like, man, this was kind of a waste of time. It was kind of a shame. They weren't as good as I thought they were to be with. You know what I mean?
I find everybody has something about them that's special. Some
Mm.
people, you might see them online in clips and just be dazzled by that. Other people, maybe they're more of a slow burn, and then when you actually interact with them, you start to really appreciate what they do. Other people are just delightful, just absolutely wonderful to work with and be around. And the people that you might think are your bucket list may not actually be end up being your favorites. It might be somebody that you never thought about, and then you work with them, and you're just like that's my person, that one.
Hmm.
I don't like calling out favorites, except for people that I have actually interact with that I can say, yeah, this person was absolutely wonderful and I love them.
Okay. So when it comes to your merch, as you observe and you're wearing your t-shirt, do you go to your shows and do you sell merch? Because you're a referee. Most referees don't say, I got 8x10s and t-shirts here. I see you have shirts. You must get a lot of people coming out to pick them up, because that is I'm gonna go CI. That's a banger of a logo. Like,
It's I am an illustrator, so it's easy for me to have merch because I just draw it. And but my Anna Wood, my working name, was actually Wood was gifted to me. Conan Wood is the most senior referee in New Zealand. He's got 1,548 matches, I think, is his current total. So he's a referee's referee. So when he adopted me and gave me his name, it's one of my most precious possessions, possibly, is my name. And he does merchandise. So it was never something that I thought wasn't allowed. So when I sort of came to the shows and I saw that he was selling merch, I was like, okay, cool, I can do my own merch. And so nobody ever told me I couldn't.
yeah,
And generally speaking, if somebody doesn't tell me I can't, then I probably will.
yeah. I think I do the
But I
same
also
thing.
like to draw the other people. Like I've drawn a lot of the wrestlers in New Zealand as well, and I always send them the files and say, look, if you want to use this for anything, just go ahead, please. Like on my Instagram, I usually post my illustrations as well, so people can see them. But yeah, I'm working on a new line of illustrations at the moment, but I don't want to. Yeah, I'm doing saint candles.
Okay,
So
cool,
yeah, I was working on those drawings now.
awesome. If you have anything, if any fans want to pick anything up,
Oh, if you want to get it shipped from New Zealand, well, shipping is the challenge because I'm in New Zealand. So I'm not going to be doing a new print run soon, but I do have a Printify store, which I think which ships in New Zealand, sorry, in America, sorry. And my Printify, I'm just going to find it for you. Hang on a
if you
second.
can get the link, I could send it to me in the private chat, and I'll share it in the chat. So if anybody
Yes,
wanted to do it,
yes, just let me quickly do that. I should have done that before I came
we were
online.
just chit chatting, we were having fun.
We're just talking about blood mainly. Here we go. I share that with you in Instagram.
Send it to me on Instagram, and I will send it right into the chat. Hold on.
Yeah, cool. So I've got some stickers and I've got some mugs and shirts in there.
It's funny. There was a female wrestler back in the day. She almost sent me a coffee mug, and my mom's like, "Mama Panther went like this. Coffee mug, really?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You don't need another. We don't need another coffee mug." And now I have an apartment, and I need a coffee mug. I need some more coffee mugs. I have.
I mean, I happen to think that my mugs are really cool, and eventually I want to replace all of the mugs in the house apart from these ones. I only shop for homeware at Halloween, so
Have you thought of coming to America to go all to all the fun spooky places?
oh,
In
absolutely. I'd love if I got to work in America, I would definitely try to make it for this time of year.
the link is too big. It won't let me put it in the chat on YouTube.
Oh, it's Printify Reffington, I think it is.
I'll save it. I'll save it and put it on the screen.
Yeah.
I'll save it
Oh
on
yeah,
my
lady-reffington.printify.me. That's
maybe
it.
if I save it, like maybe if I just say thank you, it will let me do that. Be nice to me. What are you trying to
Possible.
say, Joe? Don't say it like maybe if I talk to her very politely, maybe she'll be nice to me. No, no, Joe. She will still yell at you like all your female coworkers. No, they love me, and then they all look at they all look they all look around their laptops like, don't believe him. Just tell him stop. I didn't mean it. I was just being funny. Not funny, Joe. Stupid. Okay. Not stupid. Hilarious. That's my life.
I
I
mean,
love you
sometimes
too.
the line between those is quite fine.
Yeah. Oh, I just shared it on my lap. See,
You
StreamYard's
did.
nice. StreamYard likes us. StreamYard likes us. YouTube's like, nuh-uh, that's too long. That could have been something vulgar. Uh, or as my friend Val would say, uh-uh, uh-uh. Val, that's Val, no, it's nuh-uh, nuh-uh. Before we go, Anna, if you could write a letter to a younger version of yourself, you could pick the timeline when this letter goes to the person, what age, and what timeline. It means age, Joe. What
Mm,
timeline and what it says in the letter and why.
right. Well, I'd actually have to write to my 16-year-old self. Um, and it's Dear Anna Marie, it's my shirt name. Um, you can go to university with your grades. You do not need to do seventh form. The teachers are lying to you because they want to have your test results bringing up the school's score. If you go now, you'll get your BA because you won't be burned out. If you do stick around and do seventh form, by the time you get to university, you're going to do part of a fine arts degree, you're going to do part of a BA, then you eventually you're going to wander off and you're going to do prosthetics, and you're never going to find your path until you're in your, not going to say how old I actually was by the time I actually found my path. Um, I where I am now is definitely where I'm supposed to be, but it was a very, very, very long journey. And Anna Marie, if you just get out of Howick now, get your degree, get your BA, art history, whatever you want to do, get it out of the way before you run out of energy because you're exhausted because you've been working so hard ever since you were a small child.
Love it, love it, Anna. That and whoever's watching this episode, they know they're just like, maybe I should go try to be a referee because I know a lot of female referees. They work so hard. There's a
Oh yeah.
female wrestler that I'm cool with. I interviewed her for next month's Warrior Mania week. I'm gonna call it weeks because I'm trying to extend it for till before the show. She's a wrestler and she's also a referee and she's a manager. So
Mm.
she does a lot of refereeing in Battlefield, and she's also a manager. She's also a trained wrestler. So I have to connect you to her as well. She's really sweet. Her character's like she calls herself the Living Dead doll, but she's a regular wrestler. She has like the line across her eye and everything. But every time you do that, I'm like, who's Dennis?
Sorry. I I came prepared with 2 coffees.
Aw, aw.
Then
You
you'll be
brought
here for
me.
a while. So I got my pumpkins.
I
Um
never
oh
know how long we can go. That's why.
yeah. So one thing I also really want to say.
Yeah.
Being a match official is not a consolation prize. A lot of people, I think, feel that maybe they have an injury or um, for whatever reason, being a wrestler isn't on the cards for them. It's just like just slightly out of reach, and I think perhaps feel disheartened to be put into. It does not have to be a consolation prize at all. We are way more likely to be on a show. Our spots are a lot safer. So we get a lot more ring time. A good experienced match official can be the de facto number three in a promotion behind the booker and the promoter. I've been able to travel with it. It's taken me places, and I've met people and had experiences that I never thought I'd be able to have. Yes, this guy.
This
This
guy.
guy is New Zealand's best, most experienced referee. He is the referee's referee. This is
Okay.
my dad.
Definitely got to give me a message, my friend. I definitely would love to have you feature you on the podcast next.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
before we
yeah.
go,
Conan Wood. Remember
definitely
the
give me a
name.
DM on Instagram, Connor. I would definitely love to feature you and help you expose yourself, give yourself exposure.
I think
Dang it, Joe.
he might
Words.
be up for that. I don't know. You
You feel
should
like
be
exposing?
careful how you ask that.
I know that. I'm gonna have to cover my mouth with my sensor right now. See, I'm in the corner now.
Oh, no wonder it was too long. It doesn't need all of that stuff after
Yeah,
the thingy.
it came up with. I don't know why it did that. It showed up as Instagram. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
well, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It really means the world to have a really awesome female referee for New Zealand. I'm gonna actually, I think you are the first person from New Zealand to be on the podcast. So, Fudadum. There you go.
Yeah,
Added.
put a pin in the map.
Yes. Yep. I like this. I always say flag. Like, and I was joking with a female wrestler earlier that I've been waiting so long to have somebody on the podcast from Japan that there's so much dust on top of that imaginary flag that when we finally push the button, it's gonna go. Sir, we need to get a fireman squad on top of the wall with the flags. Why? There's a fire, and you don't want that. Oh no! Cancel the podcast. There's a fire on the wall. Flags.
It's all
But
right. There's probably a referee standing by with a fire extinguisher. That's our
it's
job.
it's a cartoon. Now officially I'm gonna have a cartoon Anna Wood on the top of the wall, like spraying with the hose. It's the cartoon you with the black gloves, just spraying.
Yeah,
Joe, I got you. Don't worry. Go back. Just continue the podcast. You're fine. You're fine.
Fine, I'll go and teach myself how to animate. I wasn't
Ugh.
doing anything else this afternoon anyway.
You're just like, Joe, you can't do anything from yourself. You can't. I can't. I'm short. My belly button sticks out too far, and you're a horrible burden on your poor mother. Leather Ghostbusters reference. See, I make girls spit things out.
Brother.
Juice, water,
Brother.
coffee.
Phrasing.
I know.
Phrasing.
I know. I'm Joe. You're in front of the camera.
All right, this is breaking down, man.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much, and have a great day. We will catch you.
Nice to talk to you.
See you later.
Bye.